Good afternoon. My name is Huỳnh Đinh Thái Linh. I'm CEO of the World Trade Center, Bình Dương, New City. It's our great honor to welcome all of you to join us today in today's session. This is a roadshow event of the 4.0 event, ITAP 2022, and the theme of today is the voice of the Vietnam market. This event is a cooperation between Asia's leading exhibition companies, Constella Singapore, Becomix IDC Corporation, and W Trade WTC Ho Chi Minh City. This is the second time the Constella has co-organized with WTC and to organize this event. As you may know, that ITAP Roadshow 2022 with the theme Developing Enterprises based on the 4.0 industrial technology will follow two main directions, the people and technology. In terms of people, we're aiming at to equipping leaders and producers with the necessary skills and knowledge to apply the achievements of the 4.0 industrial revolution in the production and business activities. In terms of technology, we introduce the most cutting-edge technology in the market today, including the solution of 5G technology, AI, AR, VR, and cybersecurity, blockchain, machine learning to serve the future of the manufacturing industry. Thank you very much for your time with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, to join us today, it's our great pleasure to have your presence with the Becomix IDC Constella Singapore and WTC of the new city of Bình Dương. We really expect to have a great success of the workshop. The session in Bình Dương today on the 10th of August wish to emphasize on the development and initiative of Vietnam as a production hub of Asia. And within the duration of 90 minutes, the local government representative of the government, business and factory will share and discuss the application of Industry 4.0 to the production in context of Vietnam, the needs of various fields and opportunities for cooperation and networking between manufacturers. With this convergence of a wide range of technological innovation and solution, ITAP 2022 will be a place to quickly grasp the opportunity of the market in the coming time. To attend our today's workshop, I would like to introduce the following distinguished guests who spent precious time to join us today and facilitate us to join this conference today. First of all, Dr. Nguyễn Việt Long, the director of the Bình Dương Department of Science and Technology. Mr. Darren Shear, the portfolio industrial transformation manager of Constella Singapore. Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh, the director of the IT and director of Becomix IDC New City and the director of Becomix IDC Smart Production Center. And especially from Hanoi, joining us today, that's Madame Đỗ Thị Thúy Hương, the Vice Chairwoman of Vietnam Supportive Industry Association, VAS, and representative of businesses who are successful in digital transformation, Mr. Cao Văn Dong, the CEO of the Kettle Interior Asia Company. And one of the areas that we touch upon a lot over the recent times is how to create new energy sources for production development. Mr. Kiet Chen, Business Development Manager, VSS. Yes. And we highly appreciate the presence of the departments, agency, and scientists from Bình Dương and Ho Chi Minh City to join our conference today. Thank you very much for your kind presence. And now I'd like to introduce a very important person today. He has been playing very significant, important role in helping Vietnam to be successful, not only in Vietnam but also in Asia. Even before COVID, we are proud to have Becomix IDC has a great chance to visit Singapore ITAP 2019. Despite the difficulty in COVID 2020 and 2021, we have still had a good chance to work together. And today we really hope to have experience share from Mr. Darren from Constella So after a long interruption time, so now we have a good chance to welcome him again. Yeah, Mr. The floor is for you.
Thank you, Lin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I'm excited to address this audience, quite a strong audience today, at our ITAP Regional Roadshow Vietnam Industry 4.0 Forum. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to this Voice of the Market Vietnam Industry 4.0 Forum. I would like to thank Dr. Wing Viet Long, Director of Science and Technology Department of Bin Yong Province, for gracing us with your presence. I would also like to thank our regional partner, Beckermax and the World Trade Center, Bin Yong New City, for sponsoring today's venue. We have a long and strategic partnership with both Beckermax, and a special thanks to Mrs. Woon Ding Tai Lin, CEO, World Trade Center, Bin Yong New City, and Mrs. Wong, Executive Board Member, Vietnam Electronics Industries Association, for working with us closely through the years for ITAP and to make this roadshow a success. Last but not least, I would like to thank you, fellow distinguished speakers and guests, for joining us today. Today's session is part of the lead-up for Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific 2022, which will be held in Singapore on 18th to 20th October 2022 at the Singapore Expo Convention Centre. Give me a second. Minor technical glitch. Okay, as a business event platform, we have devised ITAP from the start to be not just another trade event, but to be a strategic platform for manufacturers, technology providers, and thought leaders to exchange ideas, build new networks, and catalyze opportunities for Industrial 4.0. ITAP looks to shape the learning, development, and adoption in Industrial 4.0 for the Asia Pacific region and Southeast Asia, and not forgetting important partner countries like Vietnam. This year, our key theme for ITAP will be Industry 4.0 for Business Sustainability. We have engaged the manufacturing industry, solution providers, and manufacturers themselves, and crystallized the key trends and topics relevant for the manufacturing industry. This will be digitization, so topics like augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, and data analytics, and closely followed by talent and workforce development. Because what is the technological solutions without the workforce and the skills to empower and make use of these technologies? And not forgetting, most importantly, I think in today's day and age, will be environmental sustainability. As the manufacturing is the key driver for many countries in the region and in the world, environmental sustainability is the key top-of-mind topic that is in both on the government level and also industrial level, to make sure that we be responsible as we are manufacturing for the whole world. So at ITAP this year, we are expecting 80,000 attendees from more than 70 countries. ITAP has traditionally hosted attendees from these key Southeast Asian countries, okay, leading of which will be Malaysia, Indonesia, India, Thailand, and Vietnam is definitely in the top 5 of who attends ITAP each year. We host manufacturers from many industries, out of which some of our key are the electronics and electrical and semicon industries. Out of all these attendees, ITAP is glad to host more than 35% key decision makers who will attend ITAP every year, ranging from procurement managers all the way up to C-suites, CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, attend ITAP to network and make new connections. This year, we are expecting more than 200 exhibitors from more than 20 countries, okay, in 4 different exhibit categories: additive manufacturing, industrial automation, intra-logistics, and digital factory. These are the key drivers of Industrial 4.0 and what permits the content and exhibition of ITAP. What you're looking at now is the floor plan overview for ITAP 2022. This is what attendees get to, I hope you can hear me. This is what attendees get to experience as they move through the exhibition hall, starting with the bottom right. Okay, what they will see when they first enter is the gateway to I 4.0. This gateway we have co-curated with. Thank you. So that you can hear me. We have co-curated with one of our key knowledge partners to suit every year, okay, to bring attendees a journey through the evolution of Industry 4.0. This year, there will be a focus on AI quality and sustainability. Very relevant topics for I 4.0 adoption today. Next, moving on, we will see the Singapore Pavilion, which will be the best of what Singapore companies has to offer to the region and the world. This year, we are very glad to be able to host an in-hall conference stage, which will host Industrial Transformation Forum, which looks at having key thought leaders in manufacturing present the next key trends and considerations for I 4.0 adoption. In the middle here, in between 2 halls, you will see the Business Magic Lounge, which attendees and exhibitors can schedule meetings to make new connections and collaborate future plans together. Of particular highlight I want to point out here is this whole area in Hall 3, which we have coined International Connect Zone. We are expecting international country pavilions, more than 10 of them, from China, France, USA, Germany, Malaysia, Japan, Singapore. So these international pavilions, together with the mix of international attendees attending ITAP, will be able to spur international conversations from happening at ITAP itself. And that is one of the main reasons we have crafted ITAP to be a nexus of international discussion and conversation for the manufacturing industry. This is just a snapshot about the international business delegations who have confirmed their attendance at ITAP this year. We are very pleased to share that we are working closely with the World Economic Forum as they bring in the important topic of sustainability and sustainable manufacturing to Southeast Asia. In addition, we will be also hosting business delegations from the European cluster. The US Commercial Service will be bringing a delegation on the US trade mission, together with various delegations from India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And last but not least, working together with Becamex and VAIA to bring delegations from Vietnam to experience ITAP 2022 in Singapore. So if any of you are interested, please approach us, Becamex, or Mrs. Wang from VAIA to express your interest. Last but not least, I would like to highlight that we are re-kickstarting our hosted buyer program. What this program looks at is bringing in key C-suite decision makers from the various manufacturers in Southeast Asia and the region to attend ITAP to network, collaborate, and forge new partnerships. This would include manufacturing companies across various industries, sectors, aerospace, automotive, chemical, and so on. We would like to host these delegations or buyers coming to ITAP, and we will prepare a customized itinerary for you to experience ITAP through curated site visits and relevant off-site locations to factories in Singapore who have implemented I 4.0 solutions or innovation centers, which allows you much of the time as we have an exciting program ahead. We look forward to welcoming you to ITAP 2022 this October. Meanwhile, I leave you with this sneak preview of the event. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. The ITAP Singapore event from 18 to 20 October is an opportunity for us. We can meet with the industry, the participants after 2 years of COVID pandemic, World Trade Center role. I hope that your participation to the ITAP will open up for your business to meet with potential investors and attending the workshop today. I'd like to share with you that here we come with Roadshow in Vietnam, Voice of Vietnam. We engage the Voice of Vietnam into ITAP. ITAP is one of the leading exhibition and events in Asia, and Bình Dương play the role of the leading industrial real estate developer in Vietnam. We pay attention to digital transformation, keeping our talent and moving forward to sustainable development, overcoming the crisis of the COVID-19. I'd like to invite Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh, CEO of Vicamex IDC. His presentation will be on he's a group CIO, founder director of Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center Bicamex, and he will share with us how to develop our talent in order to catch up with the Industry 4.0.
Good afternoon, everybody. So it's my honor to be as a keynote speaker to that ITAP in the second half. So today I will talk about the Industry 4.0 and an overview and opportunity for Vietnam. But today we are talking about the right of Vietnamese once again. So I will speak in Vietnamese. Okay.
Thank you very much. My first word, I'd like to thank ITAP organizers and WTC. It's my pleasure and luck to be with the ITAP, the second and now it's the third time. It is one of the most reliable events in Asia, and it will gather the best or the biggest players in Industry 4.0. In 1919, I have a opportunity to join ITAP in Singapore, and I spent 3 days, but still feel I haven't met with all the participants. So this is my personal overview why I am in charge of digital transformation for Bicamex. And Industry 4.0 is a big policy of Bicamex attended by Miền Đông University, VNPT, and other strategic partners. and any opportunities in Vietnam. How can we snatch the opportunity for Vietnam in this industry 4.0? My presentation will give you an overview on industry 4.0 because revolution is replacing the old with the new, and there must be new and innovative changes. So I'd like to give you an overview on what is Industry 4.0 and what is Industry 3.0. It's some technical knowledge, and then I'll show you the Vietnam IT landscape and Vietnam operational technology OT landscape. Then what should we do? And then conclusion. So the first content, globally, the world share the same perspective on this Industry 4.0. However, Industry 4.0 start from German. Not all the country use the concept of Industry 4.0. In China, they have made in China 2025. So each country, each nation will have their own strategy to adapt themselves with Industry 4.0. And the Industry 4.0, in my own research, is started from German. But all the countries in the world are having their own strategy to be more competitive in the new revolution. Because the new revolution is to be creating new mode of manufacturing and reducing production costs. That is in business terms. So we can see that this is an overview on the four industry revolution. The first one is started with steam and mechanical mode of production. Then the industry 2.0 is mass production and electricity. Industry 3.0 is electronic and IT system automations. And from 2015 to now, it's industry 4.0, it's cyber physical system, industry Internet of Things. Converting our normal traditional production line changing. How will it change? Because of the limit of time, I'd like to go quickly with you via this chart. I like this chart because it shows how the Industry 4.0 is happening. On the left-hand side it's the tower of automation. When we have the Industry 4.0 started, the middle layer are flattening by head computing and IoT conversion. So the Industry 4.0 is the conversion between IT and OT. IT is information technology, data, cloud computing, Internet of Things. OT is operational technology, is at manufacturing level, SCADA, APC. So the Industry 4.0 is the conversion between IT and OT. And it brings the computing more to the field and making the change in the field, in the production on-site field. So you can see we have industrial cloud with many functions like asset management, maintenance forecast. And the Industry 4.0 is it flattening the three middle layer in the pyramid of modernization. So it is another chart that shows in how Industry 4.0. We need to understand what is happening in terms of technical, in terms of technology. Once we understand that, we will know how we should invest. So IoT is creating the changes for this Industry 4.0. The chart on the top is the traditional system architectures, and the lower one is the Industrial 4.0. Through IT and OT, we change the traditional system architecture. It creates the concept of cyber changes. With the digital trend, the data will be exchanged between physical asset, physical world to the cyber world. And through the conversions between IT and OT, everything will be put up on the cyber world. Cyber twin and cyber world, the exchanging between the real physical asset and the cyber asset, it's creating this concept. So information technology and operational technology conversion will create the so-called Industry 4.0. So Industry 4.0 is the conversion between IT and OT through IoT. For example, for OT, we have SCADA, we have HMI, PLC, DCS. So once we see a automated production lines, it's normal automation, it's Industry 4.0, but if the data-driven this operation is by Internet of Things, then it becomes Industry 4.0. So the conversion will create changes in the Industrial 4.0 revolution. So coming back to Vietnam IT landscape, actually we have quite a large human resources of IT developer with high ranking for Vietnam. However, we are still focused more on outsourcing, and we are lack of investment for designing. Like in this smiling curve, we are at the bottom. In the value chain, we only focus on the labor force. It is a very unfortunately for Vietnam because we are only under OEM, and it is very unfortunate because we have a huge human resources on IT developers and coders. So seems to be the playground of foreign corporations. We are lack of Vietnamese brand. The market are dominated with both cement, Livison, Schenner. Actually, the Vietnamese student team, no, the student team can invest, can make these products. And the OT is now not expensive. And it is mainly hardware for the OT. So how do we develop Vietnam Industry 4.0 in terms of technical? I am a technical person. I need to explain to you that it is the conversion of IT and OT. Our gap is not too much to catch up with foreign corporation. The newly graduated students, they can produce these products. And how is the Vietnamese market landscape and what do Vietnamese people should do? So conversion between IT and OT, we need to move up on the value chain. We have to move through the up on the smiling curve in IT. We should move to ODM and OBM instead of staying at OEM. And this trend is happening very fast in Vietnam too, and it is a big opportunity because one, it is a revolution happening, the gap on big data, the gap on the market. In Vietnam, we have human resources, we have technical people, but we are lack of strategy development to move up on the smiling curve in IT. Next, on coming back, IoT is the key element to turn our manufacturing industry 3.0 from automation to IoT. So in the IoT value chain, according to the source of analysis machines, the playground of all the foreigners partners. The hardware account for 26%, connectivity 8%, and application 66%. So the connectivity and application are big opportunities for Vietnam for us to move up in the IoT value chain, and the sharing part is very important. So in Vietnam, the revolution 4.0 just started, and it is at the beginning phase. So the question here is return on investment. Why manufacturers and factory need to apply this Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0 is like erasing the old and erasing the old technology and invest with the new one. So coming back to this slide, for hardware we can reuse, but coming back to solution and exploring the market to become a long-term strategy. Vietnamese market are very new to this. We know about this, but we have little chance to put it into practice. As the role of Becomec, we have many interaction with manufacturers and producers, but in order to persuade them moving to Industry 4.0, it needs more efforts and like a knowledge sharing. We need to move up on the value chain. So this is an example of Industry 4.0. I don't have much time, only 15 minutes. I would like to say that Industry 4.0 is in the early stage, and it is all based on data-driven decision-making process. The 5G, the autonomous system is still started in Vietnam. So the journey is still long, and ahead of her is quite many space for Vietnam, and it is an immature market. So this is a question of why producers or manufacturers need to invest in this industry 4.0, and some conclusion. Software solution and connectivity solution acquire for 75% of the value chain industry, and it is a big opportunities for Vietnamese enterprise or any other businesses in this industry 4.0. And we need to move up on the value chain instead of OEM. We need to look at the value chain to see our opportunities, and Vietnam have a equal chance as compared to other countries. And for Becamec, we identify of development of smart industry, providing platform for industry 4.0, and training for, we need to push up the training working with Mien Dong University. And the voice of Vietnamese market is huge, but I am from the individual point of view who working in this industry 4.0. This is the opportunities and difficulties I see with for Vietnam. So I hope that with my short presentation, I hope to explain to you what is Industry 4.0. It is the conversion. Um, no, it is like the gathered between IT and OT, and it is the big opportunities for both Vietnam and other developing countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh. And as you may have heard about the voice of the market of Vietnam, the voice of market from Vietnam coming from Becamic IDC originated from the experience we have gained through the regular working with 4,000 FDI enterprises in our industrial zone. So hopefully this voice will contribute significant part in this process. And today also we connect with Singapore Polytechnic University. One of the topics of our interest is how to retain the talents and human resources in the industrial zones, especially in the Bình Dương. Over the pandemic time, it's very challenging for us to retain our workforce, and hopefully with the experience shared from the experts from the Singapore Polytechnic University, he will be sharing with us the know-how and technique how to retain and help their employees to continue to work with us, especially during the digital transformation, and when we enhance productivity, how to retain them. So now let's connect to Singapore, please.
Very good day to everyone. My name is Serkun. Thank you for inviting me to speak at the Voice of the Markets Regional Roadshow in Vietnam. My name is Serkun, and I'm from Singapore Polytechnic International, as well as also Singapore Polytechnic. Today it is my great pleasure to be invited to share this topic with you, how digital transformation can help manufacturers boost employee experience and attract talent. So before we begin, I thought it is good to keep us all on the same page. What is iPhone? Alright. So let me wipe back to 18th century, 1928 and today. Alright, so very quickly, if you recall, it was kind of mechanical production equipment powered by steam. Obviously, there were a lot of labor-intensive work. Then come 19th century, we have the enjoyment of the electrical energy. And so now mass productions, assembly lines kick in. Alright, we still need labor, right? Then in 20th century, we start to see production starts to get a bit smarter now, they automate, alright? That is thanks to the electronics and IT innovations, right? So we have enjoyed that. And come to Industry 4.0, it is all about intelligent production, incorporated with IoT, AI, artificial intelligence, right? Cloud technologies, big data, data analytics, whatever. So now the whole production flow becomes intelligence, alright? Machine can talk to machines, alright? And then data are making now useful information which then transfer to insights, knowledge and insights, right? And it is the data are pushed to the cloud and decision makers can actually make decisions on the move and so forth. And so with this kind of now moving there, that means the current workforce has to move along, alright? So that they can continue to stay relevant. And that's all about elevating workforce towards iPhone 0. Okay, so in short, when we see this topic here, it is about be very cognizant that it's going to impact the employees. And today's employees' skills, alright, has to continue to be upgraded, upskilled, alright, to stay relevant. Alright. Only then, the industries can continue to grow. And so it is important to make sure the current employee are engaging themselves in continuous training and keep up, as well as attracting new talents and then retaining the talents. And then how do we then create a safe nature, safe environment to help these employees, to enjoy their work and then enjoy their learning. And that's what it's all about today. Okay, so let me refer you to resolution number 23 that shows here that I'm so excited that Vietnam has set up a national industrial policies until 2030 with a vision towards 2045. Okay, and it is about that the value proportion of high-tech products, we are talking about high-tech products from the manufacturing and processing industries, which will reach at least 45%. And so if you see this, alright, that means the technical workforce, the infrastructure, alright, in the Institute of Higher Learning, colleges and universities, as well as the industry, has to be leveled up and create these ecosystems where government, Institute of Higher Learning, colleges with industry go hand in hand, so that we can support the entire adoptions of advanced technologies in 4.0. So now I'm going to share what we are doing, okay, and we are still doing, and we are still in this journey learning, okay. Alright, how IHL in Singapore, like Singapore intend to support the industry and journey with the industry in this iPhone journey, right? So it is about mindset, skill sets, and behavior. So we believe that first of all, we must open up our mindset, okay, to help us to see the future, to see the challenges as opportunities and not as hindrances, and to see that we are not aware, that we have blind spots, right? And to learn that, indeed, we have to see how we can move to help our organization grow. Alright. So in the industry, that wherever you are, I think there are opportunities for your industries, be it in the system process, the workflow, your machines, how can we make the machines more intelligent and so forth, and streamline the processes using the digital technology, all right? And so there is a solutioning, all right? And then there is a skill sets of training to couple with it, so that when the organization move on to new processes with a new skill sets learned by employee, then we can sustain it, and then there will be a behavior change, all right? So how do we actually open our mindsets? So it is about helping them to go through a learning journey. On the left-hand side, which I show here, about advanced manufacturing learning journey. Alright, so which I will be covering later on. Okay, so before we even begin, I'd like to share a bit very quickly on CREE in short, which is for the short form for Smart Industry Readiness Index. Okay, over here. So this is standard again that was developed in Singapore, site that where we are making reference so that across the industries, we all understand and we know there is standard tools for us to assess where we are and what are the gaps and what are the next steps we can take, alright. So this is quite a comprehensive assessment tool index, that cover all aspects from process, technology, organizations with the subdomains of the operations, supply chains, and all the way to talent, readiness, and move on. Okay, so feel free to visit us, speak to us, Alright, so in our pedagogies, our training solutions, we make very close reference to this thing. Now, so let me give you a picture of the 1SP, the enterprise transformation, the advanced manufacturing setup. Okay, alright. So we know that we have to play a critical role to help our industry to uplift, be it industry, production, manufacturing, process, and their employees. So to begin with, we rarely garner, our faculty members, on the top right hand side you can see, our staff capability, alright, and because for industry 4.0 is about gathering all the different domains, skills, expertise, electrical, electronic, mechanicals, manufacturing, computing, coming together, alright, and then of course we have to learn first, feel fast, and so that we have the knowledge to share, right? And then our center of excellence, coming together with the school sites, and then we provide the solution to the industry, and that coupled with the continuing education. So you see that I keep saying solutioning, transforming the industry, and the staff training, the capability development must go hand in hand, right? So that to bring the change effect from mindset, skill set, and behavior. Okay, a quick glimpse into our advanced manufacturing, where you will see the latest state of art to train the industry personnel. We are like digitalization, you see that sensorizations, there are robotics automations, manufacturing data, analytics, machine connectivity, and the manufacturing execution systems. Okay. So on the mindset, which I just mentioned, which is very important, we curate this learning journey, we call it AM learning journey, alright, to help them see where they are, to help them be aware of what they do not know. Alright, so today we have touch base, with more than 328 companies. I think these companies is growing even as I'm speaking, and more than 900 industry participants, 24 agencies and companies and so forth. Alright, so it is a very massive and quick way of spreading, like the gospel, we can say, right? Yeah. Okay, so in that learning journey, basically we walk through the companies, the three zones: digitalization, integrate zone, and the smart zone, as you can see. So the digitalization zone really helping the companies to see where they are. So some companies are still in the very early stage. They have machines, which cannot talk in that sense, no sensors. So how they come to digitalization and see such a machine of the previous century can actually sensorize it, and then they actually can become top. Okay, so what we mean by top, of course, is these sensors can transfer, this data, through the gateway, through the cloud, and then to a dashboard, all right, and where the in charge can make decisions and know the status of the machines, all right, and even can know the usage of the machine so that when to make preventive measures and so forth, and repair schedules and so forth, Then comes to the integrated zone where you have different types of machines from different brands and whatever. So we call it manufacturing cells and production cells, and how do we integrate, alright? And these multiple machine cells, in the sense that can seamlessly communicate with one another, and then you will see how this is being played out. Okay, and if your production change, you can always adjust your layout of the machine cells and so forth, and then come to the smart zone, which is an integrated system with data-driven intelligence, and that is very powerful. And you can really enable agility and maximize responsiveness. Okay, so today that is in Singapore. We also have learning journey that bring you to Europe. In this case here is Germany, a 5-day immersive program where you see the best in class, the possibility of i4.0 adoption to improve productivity and competitiveness. So Bosch Microsoft work with us very closely in this aspect. Okay, and some kind of use cases that derive from our centers, on the left you see how we automate the passport collections in Singapore, and speed up the collections of passport time, and the bottle dispensing systems in the pharmacies, okay, as well as in the auto storage and retrieval systems, right? So from very manual now to automation to become intelligent systems. Okay, just to get a show of hands that we are really bringing industries into our campus into the industries, and then very good to all the partners working together. So back to that statement, how digital transformation can help manufacturers boost employee experience and attract talent. Okay, right, and then referencing back to the resolutions number 23, and I kind of interpret this whole thing with these ecosystems. That to begin with, really, is technical college and universities like us in Singapore, and here, that we play a critical role in providing that relevant skill sets, okay, just in time for the industry. Alright? Now, and as the industry demands grows, that's how this I4.0 workforce is being available to meet the supply needs of the manpower, right? And then that's how productivity, quality grow, and then that leads to the business growth, okay, which then definitely will people will be more attracted to this country to increase investments, and then the need for greater skill, in this, and wider skills for advanced manufacturing. And that must be a continuous training process, okay, to keep it relevant. And that conforms the whole entire success cycle, And by doing this, we attract opportunities, for these talents, young entrants who comes in, and that they are in the same ecosystems, where industry, IHL, government all come together, to nurture this workforce and keep this I4.0 workforce sustainable, and increase the experience and the talents continuously to grow. Yeah. So this is the experience that is happening over in SP, and I'm glad to be able to kind of share with you my little knowledge with all of you. Thank you very much, and have a good day for the rest of your seminar.
Thank you, Mr. Toshekun, the Managing Director of Singapore Polytechnic International. You have just been listening to very interesting experience sharing regarding how can we change the mindset, perception, and skill set and behavior of our employees in the factory floor in order to boost the experience of the industrial 4.0, especially those located within the industrial park. So we presentation not just is at the experience share from BKMX, IDC, and Singapore Polytechnic International, but joining us today is our great pleasure to invite many distinguished guests who come to share many different voices on the market. So as we know about how Vietnam has been experiencing the digital transformation and how Vietnam applied the industrial 4.0 into their manufacturing industries. Now I'd like to invite you to have a short break. In the meantime, our technical team will prepare for the setup and for get ourselves ready for panel discussion. So technical team, please. Ladies and gentlemen, topic for discussion today is from profitability to sustainability, applying digital technology to drive industrial growth. We hope that to join us today. We have great pleasure to welcome the following distinguished guests. A big applause to each guest after we read aloud their name. Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh, the CIO, Director BKMX IDC. Madam Đỗ Thị Thúy Hương, the Vice Chairwoman of Vietnam Supportive Industry Association (VASI) and member of the Executive Committee of Vietnam E-Business Association (VEIA). They are two very important associations in order to support enterprises to develop both inside and outside of our country. Um, on behalf of the manufacturing sector, Mr. Cao Văn Đồng, General Director of Kettle Interior, and the leaders in the applying the technology in the engineering industry of wood and timber sector. And the last but not least, a very important person in our event today, Mr. Kiet Chen, the Business Development Manager of BSSES, a company that is advancing the development of solar energy, helping the sustainable development in the industrial park. Mr. Kiet, please. And my name is Huỳnh Đinh Thái Linh. I will be a moderator of today's panel discussion. So warmly welcome all of the distinguished guests to join us today in the panel discussion. First of all, let's give the priority to very important women who is holding many important roles and positions in the association. Ms. Hương, in a very important role in the association, you have the regular access to enterprises in electric and electronic manufacturing industry. Could you please share with us about the latest development of the enterprises, electronic enterprises in the digital transformation process? First of all, on behalf of the enterprises coming from the manufacturing processing, electric companies, I would like to say hello and and to all of you who are joining the panel discussion with the topic of the voice from Vietnamese market. As a member of the electronic and manufacturing and processing industries over the many years, it can be said that this point in time is unprecedented opportunity for the manufacturing industry, especially for electronic sector, when the big techs in companies are pouring their investment into Vietnam. In the first 7 months of 2022, the figures of FDIs amounting up to 15.4 billion US dollar, mostly invested in high-tech area and electronic areas. And the largest industries, the largest technological corporation and the portfolio of that contains the highest technology in Vietnam. For example, semiconductors production has been last week the CEO of the Samsung Corporation paid a working visit and a courtesy visit to the Prime Minister in Vietnam. He informed us that Samsung continued to invest 3.3 billion US dollar into a factory in Thái Nguyên in order to upgrade the production line of the semiconductors in Vietnam. And another companies as a big chip provider for Samsung, that's the Amkor. They have already established their factory in Vietnam, and Intel, as you may know, that they have set up the factory in Vietnam for more than 10 years, and they are planning to expand their production capacity. Besides, those companies are the big techs in many important industries such as aeroplanes or also made investment into Vietnam. The Japanese audio company also invested in producing manufacturing accessories for airplanes. By the end of this month, Boeing will hosting and organizing aviation conference in Vietnam with a view to create an ecosystem and set up a supply chain for Boeing in Vietnam. That is a very delightful signals, giving great evidence showing that the big techs are investing into Vietnam, and also many big corporations are seeking the way to set up the ecosystem for their global supply chain. That is a very good chance for Vietnamese enterprises. Let's talk about the achievement made by the electronic industry in the first 6 months of 2022. We achieved 56 billion US dollar. The export turnover continued to rank the first in the processing manufacturing industry in the whole country over the past 10 years. And the first 6 months, we have a surplus of export put up 6.5 billion US dollars that significantly contribute to balancing their the trade balance in the context of the whole country. Have a surplus of export of more than 4 billion. In 2021, the whole country have the surplus of export only 4.6 billion US dollars. So that is those figures demonstrate a very important role of the electronic industries and proving that that is a great ever increasing potential and posing a big opportunity for the processing and manufacturing companies in Vietnam. So that's create a very good impetus for motivation for the Vietnamese businesses. They have no other chance, no other choice than transiting and transforming, engaging into digital transformation in the. That is a must in the industrial 4.0 revolution. Vietnamese business, especially in the two associations, the Supportive Industry Association and E-Business Association, we have step by step introduced the application of the smart factory into the business operation and activities. We launched the supportive program for digital transformation for e-businesses into a smart factory. Thank you very much, Madam Hương, for giving us very vivid figures so that we can feel proud so that we can see that Vietnam is not only just talking about that, but we really attracting big manufacturers who migrate into our market, and people who are sitting here as also a part of the value chain. You are supplying a lot of products in this value chain, and hopefully you will continue to grow by shaking hands together and cooperate more greatly in the coming time. Another question from us here, other than the role in the association, you also one of the manufacturers, producer for accessories for Samsung. So as a producer, we talk a lot about achievements. So let's talk about some difficulties, especially over the past time during COVID time. And in Beijing, we encounter a lot of challenges in terms of human resources. I wonder if you encounter the same problems in the northern factories in terms of human resources. The processing manufacturing industries are characterized by post COVID-19, after November 2021, after Prime Minister introduced the resolution in order to get all of the factories get back to work. So many of them report experiencing a shortage of human resources in October 2021. All of the processing manufacturing industry lacking 17-18% of human resources. In electronic manufacturing lacking highest up to 50%, and it's inevitable for the northern factories. So the same for the southern companies. If you go along all the industrial parks in both north and south, we very often we see on the signboards advertising recruitment. Very difficult to enroll new staff because during COVID-19, many of them workers quit their job or migrate into other industry. The second point, when the workers get back to their companies, it takes us pretty some time to provide refresh training so that they can keep pace with the production process. Another point, that is somehow the mechanical competitions. That is many FDI pouring investment into Vietnam, so they compete for the workforce. So that makes the labor market becomes tougher and tougher. And many companies, especially my companies, it's really hard time for us to recruit and retain the employees. In 11 of July this year, the government decided to revise the minimum salary for the workers to help them feel relieved to engage into production. However, most of the businesses in the export processing zone and industrial parks reportedly they already revised by increasing remuneration and salary for employees right from beginning of the year when they resume at work. Many employees have to take leave because of being sick because of COVID, but they still enjoy 100% of their salary and other social insurance. So that create a big burden for enterprises, but no problem. We consider the workers as the most precious source of capital in our enterprises. So we try to maximize the care provided to employees. Thank you, Ms. Hương. What she has just said to us. Uh, here we uh, uh, here we have presence of Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh, the group CIO of BKMX CID. Before I raise a question for him, let me share a story. The chairman of BKMX IDC, his statements as follows: right after we make decision how to support the workers to overcome pandemic, the chairman share with us as if there's no workers of the no workers working in the factory, the BKMX IDC will no longer existing. So even though we have to invest all the remaining assets of BKMX to rescue, to save our workers, we will we are determined to do so. So that's making a change how to enhance, upgrade the quality of the factory is very important. So the question for Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh for the BKMX IDC in the coming time, what orientation, what direction you go in order to support digital transformation as well as to enhance the value. And just now, Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh, you heard from Polytechnic University, they share that for the things related to perception, mindset, skill set, and behavior, how to empower and enhance their quality. Could you please share a few points? Thank you, Ms. Linh. Actually, it's very great question that hit on the nail on its head. What is BKMX has been pursuing over the past time? BKMX is a industrial infrastructure development corporation, the leading corporation in Vietnam. The BIC and WTC is one company in the ecosystem of BKMX, and VSES from Mr. Kiat is also one a member of the ecosystem BKMX. Why we expand that much? Because so far BKMX growing industrial zone, not industrial zone that stand alone, but we incorporate the whole ecosystem, including high-end education, and the Miền Đông company is one representative that we are pursuing the human-oriented model. We build the affordable housing for the employees, the school system for the investors and the investor children. So we create an ecosystem so that investor can find employees can get a job and they can get a home to stay. So the ecosystem in order to support mutually. So as a result, the model has been proven to be quite success, and why the BKMX and CITC expanded into 10 provinces, the cities, and create 10,000 of jobs. But eventually, that is still in within the calculation of the whole country. That is labor attracting not very skillful workers, and take the cheap labor cost as competitive advantages over the past 10 years. But with the industrial 4.4 or 4.0, first of all, automation that cut down a certain part in the input. For data manufacturing, that is a data-driven manufacturing, gradual lead to automation, autonomous. Autonomous and automation are somehow different. Autonomous is a data-driven system that make its own decision. We have not reached that status as that, yes, but in the coming time, the cheap labor cost will no longer become maintained as competitive advantages. So we improve the 4.0 industry, and we are aiming at providing a training course of industry 4.0 in Vietnam. So when that's fully automated, there's no longer manpower needed. So where will they be migrated? They will migrate to the service and trading activities. That's the reason why we are sitting here, in order to go ahead in preparation for a new ecosystem. That is the vision of the board of management and the BKMX chairman and president. We prepare a new education system to upgrade the skills for employees. Whoever can upgrade up their skills and keep pace with that, they can stay, they can remain. Otherwise, not, they will migrate to the supportive service and trading. That is a new ecosystem. So that's something that seen from perspective of a technical man, but from the perspective of a strategical perspective, we need to have a surrounding ecosystem in order to meet the new requirements. So that is in the capacity mechanics. I just want to introduce a few points. So and as a renewable rooftop solar also within the ecosystem BKMX, and we cooperate with our partners to create that. So a quick overview of what we are perceiving and what we are pursuing, and hopefully we have somehow share our experience and with all of you. And let me get back to the clientele of the 4.0 industry, not necessarily the FDI companies, but the small medium enterprises. For small medium prices, we cannot apply the solution for the big companies. So we need to be able to localize industrial 4.0 that's suitable with the small and medium enterprises. 90% of us are small and medium enterprises. They can just can survive and hope to exist. They cannot. They are not capable to invest into the future. So the reason why we make that analysis, because in the supply chain, if 74% remaining, we can support the system of small and medium enterprises. With that, we can advance our capacity of our manufacturing industry. Thank you, Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh. What Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh just says as exactly in line with our direction. Apart from advancing Industrial 4.0, we also pay attention to creating the service value to balance the economy. So when you join us here, you must have had some time to pass by the international exhibition area. That's the first time we organize in an area of 12,000 square meter, just exhibiting the tools and production equipment in the wood and timber industry. As you may know, that Bình Dương is one of the cradle, the hub of wood and timber manufacturing industry. Many of them producing and export to many famous brands in the world. And joining us here, we also expect to hear the voice from one enterprises in this area. Mr. Dong, could you please share with us your experience from your own company, how you are conducting the digital transformation? When we invite Mr. Dong here, Mr. Dong said that he's very proud. What do you want me to talk about? You talk about the technology or procedures, process of manufacturing or whatever. So, Mr. Dong, could you please share with us the achievement made by you over the past time in your factory? Ladies and gentlemen who are joining the conference today, let me extend our sincere thanks to organizing committee for giving me a good chance to express my views, voice my views to inspire some of the very still reluctant companies who are not brave enough to conduct the digital transformation. I come from the Bình Dương Wood and Timber Association. I'm a member of the executive committee, and my company is manufacturing the wooden products for export. That is a sector that's very difficult to carry out industrial 4.0 and digital transformation. Everything still using manpower, manually done. So unlike electronic manufacturing or cleaner industry, so that is one of the biggest challenges of the wood and timber industry. In Bình Dương, wood and timber industry is one of the spearheaded industry in economy in our province economic development. Over the recent year, we heard a lot about the 4.0 industry and AI. And my companies, we have not dared to apply such a cutting-edge technology. We just seized at the digital transformation for our company, and we somehow started applying a little bit of AI into some small items on the piloting basis. And when we touch upon the digital transformation, in reality, we have been embarked on that for quite a long time. For example, accounting software is a kind of a digital transformation using the software. That is a part of a kind of digital transformation. We also heard about a lot of software like ERP or the software developed for human resource management. I don't want to advertise for any brands, but that is a hint for you to learn more about that. I have attended many conferences and workshops on the digital transformation, as I can see that in the wood and timber industry. That's extremely challenging because we have big corporation in association with a turnover of 1,000 billion Vietnam dong, but they could not succeed in digital transformation. So today I want to join you to share about the distressful experience, what we have undergone and what we have acquired and achieved to share with you. Who are the enterprises or the consulting agency for the digital transformation, so that you can have a different perspective of how to conduct a digital transformation successfully. I can affirmatively say that would be successful. That is some of the thing I would like to share with you in terms of the perception on the digital transformation. There's a few points I'd like to share. As you may know, that recently the Prime Minister issued a decrease. I do not remember exactly what kind of circular decrease, but they promulgated national action plan for digital transformation of the whole country up to 2025. So when we carry out such a specific digital transformation for the whole country, I, as a person, I believe that in the future, the national digital transformation will be closely associated with the businesses, and businesses must be closely linked to the national digital transformation. That is my own prediction. I wonder how the government will carry it out in reality. But the digital transformation would make our figures and data more transparent, to make it easier and better for the government to govern and manage us. So probably in the coming time we will be compulsory to digitalize. Like invoice, no longer we can issue manually an invoice, but it must be digital invoice. So previously, why we need to carry out digital transformation, even though it's very challenging in the wood and timber industry, but we are determined to do that. Go to the end of the road, because the the world technological foundation is already in place. Why don't we make use of that? EEM and SAF and many companies, domestic company, can develop some platforms. So ERP is one of the foundation for us to have our work. We have a big database system in order to kind of big data to help us operate the business since the onset of the ERP until the final days when we may die. We always ensure to have a transparent database system, so as anytime we want to enterprises want to raise fund, the investor can it's reliable for the investors to look into database to make decision of investment. Otherwise, it would be very challenging to raise fund, and also that facilitate and help us our corporate and management. Digital transformation would not help us to increase the productivity, but many that require many others, a series of solutions to help increase the productivity. However, that help the decision makers to come up with the decision in a timely manner, but that would not help us to increase the productivity for the people who just carried out the digital transformation. They said that that's very labor intensive, because you did not carry out in the right way. So that is some short experience I would like to share. If we have more time, if you want me to talk more about what experience, what procedure I have done in order to be successful. Currently, I am using EMB and WMF for the warehouse management. I'm using the using the camera surveillance and AI. When you enter into factory, you don't need to show your face. The camera just point to the person who enter the gate. Automatically, that would record the name of the person who just passed by into the computer system. You don't need to use your fingerprints. You do not need to show up your face. You just need to pass through the gate with two or three surveillance camera. It's not cost, doesn't cost much. Some dozen of million Vietnam dollars, it's just enough. The AI for a controlling invoicing system. The software we are using automatically they take the invoice for double checking, so that equal to a few accountants, because our companies have thousands of invoices every month. We issue about 5,000 invoices. Previously we need three employees to check verify whether that's correctly issued, that match the order or not. But now one robot using AI, I'm not so clear about that, but that is something that could help us solve the problems, enhancing the productivity. That's some information I'd like to share with you. Thank you very much, Mr. Dong. And here we have two keywords. This is efficiency or productivity. Many companies claim that they have to buy many devices, equipment, and software in order to enhance the productivity. But now Mr. Dong just share with us, we come to realize that more importantly, we need to enhance the efficiency of the company since perspective of manager in person, so that we can make a quick decision in a timely manner. And today, when I sit here, I have an impression that about 2 years ago, there's a big event also organized here in coordination with the European Chamber of Commerce, how to create the green growth in the industrial park. And WTC has been selected by the European Chamber as a venue for organizing that. They talk about the green build, so how to for the industrial park, a place where 4,000 FDI factories are located. How can you ensure the green growth? How those businesses attach their standards to the European standards? One of the recently Winship and one shops in Becamage, we coordinate with VAS, contributing significant part in generating new energy. Mr. Minh Trường, could you please share with us with a new achievement, what enterprises you have installed the solar power system and what kind of efficiency that bring about to that businesses. And thank you very much. And because um, English Vietnamese maybe not so clear, so let me share with you in English to make it clearer.
So, Internet of Things, as Mr. Tunan shared about, talks of basically how do you implement technology into existing space and equipment. And it's similar in solar power, where we are about how to use the existing rooftop in order to be sustainable. And so we don't call it Internet of Things, but we call it Energy of Things, EOI, EOT. Maybe this is the first time somebody ever coined this, so it's from the view, so you can Google for this. So why does companies have solar power? And as Andam shared, it's about across the country, up and down, for many years I've been in Vietnam. I see that companies are all the time asking, how do I get more competitive and build a better production line to improve my supply chain? And this is why you can have solar power. That's the Vietnam answer for that. Because by 2017, before that, there was almost no solar power. And up until 2020, Vietnam went from basically 0 megawatt to 19 gigawatt of solar, making Vietnam the top 10 countries in the world to implement solar. And this is driven by companies who basically want to reduce the operating costs, who want to have carbon credit, renewable energy credits, and to go sustainability and build and improve their supply chains. All of this goes towards improving the efficiency of the manufacturing companies. So in IoT, as Ms. Hoon was talking about, Samsung in particular, all these big supply chains, suppliers of Samsung, Foxconn, Intel, they're reaching out to VSAS to ask how much of solar power can they put on their rooftop and how much electricity can they offset instead of using energy from the coal power, from the oil and gas, using from what you get from the sun on the existing rooftop. And one example that VSAS signed a contract recently is the Celux acoustic company. Basically, probably all these speakers here and the one that you hear on your earphones are components there by Celux company because they have realized in order to be sustainable, in order to be here in the market right now, they need to go sustainability. So that when they set up the factory in VSIP 2 last year, they decided to definitely we will go solar power with the VSIP. They contacted us, and now we are on target to have it installed by the end of the year. And one of the reasons why they're having it is also because their clients are big company brands like Dell, Intel, Volvo, all requiring the supply chains to go sustainability. This is now the latest requirement by FDI, by RE100 companies to go solar. So basically, and in what we had in the COP26 last year with Prime Minister in Scotland, he committed the whole of Vietnam to go renewable and energy friendly. Meaning, in the near future, we can see that Vietnam will penalize any company that's emitting a lot of gas because it will be more expensive in the future. So for companies like Celos, already they are going to get carbon credits for all their production. And so in the future, this will reduce their operating costs and be more competitive than the neighbor that does not implement solar. So in Bidun here, where VSIS is, joint venture between VSIP and Becamex and Semcorp, we are very passionate about providing solar to companies within and outside VSIP area because the strength with us is we are with Becamex family. We will stay here up and down the country. We have not only in VSIP in Yuen, but we have in Haiphong, in Bắc Ninh, and other areas. And what we are doing is we're tapping into the cheap investment fund from Semcorp in order to give solar power, install it for free for any clients, any companies in Yuen to go to reduce the electricity costs. We're looking at, if you're paying now 1,000 VND to EVN, you could have a 30% discount and pay tomorrow 700, and this saves a lot of operating costs. At the same time, you get all of these renewable energy credits. And it's all free. We do the CAPEX, we do the OPEX, and we do the ESCO model. We just install it for you, and then you can focus on your own business. And I think, so when companies are asking, how do I get more increased efficiency, it's about profitability and going sustainability with solar power on top of your rooftop. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kiệt. For VSSEZ, we play very important role. So, and we wish that for BKMH we have 29 industrial parks and zones stretching along Vietnam, and all for businesses inside or outside of our industrial parks, we are willing, more than happy to render support to you. As an industrial park developer, we play the role of a supportive role. So we wish that if you have any new initiative and ideas you're willing to share with us, we are able to coordinate with us in order to render support to you, especially for FNE, SME, how to enhance their value, how to help them produce more products to meet the requirement in the coming time. And just now, we just finished the series of questions. Now the floor is given back to you. I wonder if audience here, you have any questions. So please, microphone to our participants here, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Vietnamese, so I would like to talk in Vietnamese language. Okay?
My name, I'm representative of Suntech Japanese corporation. It's one of the FDI corporation in Vietnam. We have factories in. We have a Lagi Binh Thuận industrial park and another industry. VSAP will invest in renewable energy for their factories and their facilities. So there's two questions. The first is using VSAT renewable energy. Are we entitled to green power certificate? And the second question is, we want VSAT to invest it in wind energy and solar energy to sell to our two industrial park in Laji Bingphat. We would like to have the a model of VSAP, like we buy the power from VSAP and then we sell the electricity to the investors located in our industry.
So thank you for that. May I answer in English? So for question one about renewable energy credit, that's a very good question. Thank you very much. Yes, a lot of our customers, FDI from all countries, one of the main reasons for getting solar power with visas is to have renewable energy credits or carbon credits. What is this basically? So when a factory emits gas into production, this has an environmental consequence. And all over the world, there are more stringent requirements, and one of the requirements is for companies to use solar energy renewable. And so they set this credit system so that in the future, when it becomes very costly and very expensive to produce the same gas for your products, you can have these credits. So now going back to answer the question, for sure, part of our package solution, the whole PPA from beginning to end, includes renewable energy credits for the company. So we register under your name, the company name, and we service to you all the years. You can take this credit for yourself and sell it to other companies, or you can use it for your own production line. And what's best about VSAS is with Semco, in this case, we have our own platform to deal with these renewable energy credits so that you can be safe to have it with us, or we can share it to you in order for you to use it for your own production. And for question number two about, I think, wind power, installing wind power for your own use. So this is more in the area of Beckermeck and VSIP, but definitely we've seen recently a high-profile case of Lego in VSIP 3, where one of the conditions for Lego to get into Vietnam and be with VSIP 3 is for VSIP 3 to provide 100% renewable energy. And for this, then we have decided it's possible maybe to provide ground mount solar farm for specifically VSIP 3 and Lego. And so this is much higher level decision making, but it's definitely something that the FDI company can ask and can look into on a higher level for sure. And then we can consult to you on the engineering aspect and the cost and the time frame, how to install the solar and the wind power for your use. I hope this answered the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kiet. And after this panel discussion, we have another connection network in the next room. And after that, you can continue to have interaction with our guest speaker today to discuss more. And yeah, technician, please give the microphone to this lady. So I'm representative of INTO, Vietnam Electronic Industry Association Southern. So Đỗ Thị Thủy Hương, can you share with us the future perspective of application of smart factory in electronic industry? What is the prospect of applying smart factory in electronic industry? Thank you for your question. The question is very difficult and interesting. It is strategic and macro question on the point of view of a manufacturing industry, electronics, many years. We see an opportunity. It's a rare and precious opportunities for manufacturing and electronics in the global supply chain. It is a critical time in the context of changes in the geopolitical with many variables, especially starting 2022, many changes, but Vietnam can keep the stability in terms of politics, in terms of economy comparing to other countries. So FDI is still flowing into Vietnam with high content of technology into Vietnam, and it's a chance for Vietnamese enterprises to step further into the global value chain or supply chain with a higher content and a higher internal value added, national value added. So I see advantage and opportunities for Vietnamese businesses to participate in this journey, and I would like to give enterprise or business a message. Please get ready for the opportunity. And the theme today is about the Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing, smart factory. I would like to say that the future of our businesses in the supply chain, we have to move forward to smart manufacturing. It sounds far, but it is very close to what we are doing. Like Mr. Kiet has just shared about using green energy, the rooftop solar panel. That application save energy for the factories or manufacturing. So smart manufacturing model is the integration of Industry 4.0, IoT, but at the same time, it is a lean management methods when we use energy more saving, more efficiency, using better all our resources, simplify and mainstreaming our production process, cut all the waste and unnecessary step in our process, creating more value in the global value chain. Only when we optimize our process, our production, and using clean and renewable energy, that we can, be adapted to the competitiveness. So this is the inevitable trend of the global supply and value chains. I think it's the message that the southern businesses in Bình Dương businesses are really strong businesses. They really very innovative in their supply chain, and the business in Bình Dương always pay a lot of attention to energy saving. So I want to share this message with businesses in Bình Dương today, especially from those who have just asked the question. So efficiency energy usage is the cross-cutting trend in the development of electronic semiconductor. The smaller they are, the more energy saving they are, is one of the main objectives of electronic industry. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for your sharing. Firstly, I would like to introduce you. My name is I'm working in environment Korea. I have one question for Mr. Kim. As you know, Vietnam still like our name. Yeah, I think Vietnam take advantage to develop, to build solar energy plant. So I have one question for you. Life cycle of your solar energy panel. How many years? Yeah, second question. How many percentage component in your product may be recycled? Yeah, you know, your products, up to you become vegetable. Yeah, can your company take it back from vegetable? Because ready to sign responsibility in many pictures.
So I got question 1 and 2. So question 1 was life cycle, and question 2 was recycling component. Maybe I can ask you later on about question 3 and question 4. Is that okay? Very good question about the life cycle. So solar power has been around for a lot of years, and actually for many years, 3-4 decades, NASA from the United States and Europe was sending up satellite with solar power. So it's there to last for a very long time. Specific answer is the solar power right now in the industry, 90% in the world have at least 25 years guarantee, meaning if one solar panel breaks down within the 25 years, we will replace it for you free of charge. But just because they have guarantee for 25 years, not like they're gonna die on year 25. Most of them continue just at a lower efficiency level than you would expect. And industry has shown in the United States and Europe that indeed they do last beyond, and they just leave it on the rooftop to produce for many, many years more. So that's question number one. And then for question number two about how many percent of recycle, that's quite a tricky question. So the sunshine part of the question is yes, 95% of the solar panel, you're looking at the metal, you're looking at the glass, the solar cells, polysilicon, they are recyclable. At least 95 to 99%. However, in Vietnam, because the industry is new, then we still need to address the question: how do we recycle this? And this is something that VEA. Sorry about that. They're probably asking me the same question. So Vietnam now is because. Just 2017, we had nothing, and now we are the top 10 countries in the world with solar power. So the recycling industry hasn't caught up with Vietnam solar industry yet, with 19 gigawatt. However, it is recyclable, and Vietnam government officials, VEA authority, and MOIT are working on creating framework guidance how to recycle these solar panels. And I've seen in recent years that actually there are now private companies that are offering to take any solar panels for free. Because Vietnam is very innovative, they will use almost anything and turn it into, from a waste into a profit-making enterprise. So with 19 gigawatts lying around across the country, and with probably 20 to 50 gigawatts more up until 2030, I think there will be companies, there will be an industry where you recycle and it will provide for a lot of support for new industries and companies to deal with. And in the end, all these solar panel recycling will go into new products because it is recyclable if we see from the United States and Europe. Now for question number 3, can I ask again? Yes. So we are dealing, because we says we only buy solar power from tier 1 producers. Tier 1 meaning they come from the leading solar panel producers in the world, like J Solar, Longi Solar, Jinko, Canadian Solar, and these all have recycling capability. And so as part of our package, we take back the solar panels at the end of the contract and will dismount it to restore it in original condition. Thank you. The last question?
One last question. Because our guest speaker have to move, take some flight to back to Hanoi, so one last question only. And we have a more discussion in the next room. We will have a gala dinner networking, so you can ask more questions at that gala dinner later on. 2 questions. So one man here and one man in the back. 2 last questions. Well,
thank you for the last questions. Okay, first of all, thank you for the panels for sharing the insights. Also, thank you to the translator for helping a lot. Okay, I'm Peter from Chingbu, which is food manufacturing companies. We have been here for 40 years. Okay, so there are 2 questions. Yeah, how do you see? I know, understand that the industry 4.0 is at different industries. Okay, so how do you see in beyond? What is the stage of the Industry 4.0 in India at this moment as one of the largest industrial park in Vietnam. That's number one. And number two questions will be, we are in a labor-intensive industry, okay, which we hire about 30,000 people. Okay. How does this Industry 4.0 okay, going to engage? How do we engage the labor force who is actually at quite an older age? Okay, so that will be so how do we ensure their well-being in the future as well?
So two questions. I'd like to ask Mr. Tuấn Anh to respond to his two questions.
Thank you for your interesting question. The first question about the Industry 4.0 in Brazil, right? The situation, something like that. You know, because actually, currently we are in the early stage of the Industry 4.0. So in Brazil too. Because I know, as you know, that the most important thing is a return on investment. How do we ensure that for the investor, for the manufacturer, they can ensure the return on investment in the Industry 4.0? Because now, to be honest, now the labor cost is still low. And that's, we need to convince them that, okay, Industry 4.0 is need to be deployed, need to be implemented in your factory. But actually, even as I know, around the world, this market is not really major. And in Brazil too, but we are trying to develop an Industry 4.0 develop infrastructure to allow our future investor and even existing investor can help them to upgrade their existing factory to smart factory, for example. And we are also not only in EIU, in Aston International University, but also in VCU, in Johor University, and we are trying, and from the government side and in the Brazil Smart City project, we are trying to define the new direction and new view and develop the utility about the fat tech lab, about the Industry 4.0, about the showcase center, and also we try to connect to many solution provider and solution integrator to come here and to show everyone, okay, Industry 4.0 is coming and you need to train, you need to move, but at the end, we need to convince them and to ensure that if they invest into the new technology, for example, IoT, for example, predictive maintenance, but we need to answer the program of investment. I mean, the answer the return on investment. And one of the most important things is the market, the Industry 4.0 market is not really major because of program of investment. And because of currently the labor cost is still low in Vietnam, but we cannot ensure that in the next 5 years or the next 10 years, even in Brazil or in Vietnam, the labor cost will increase very fast. And now we start to build our Industry 4.0 infrastructure in Brazil, but just in early stage. I think my answer for 2 questions. Okay, thank you very much.
So I also would like to contribute from the perspective of World Trade Center Museum New City, together with my colleague, Dr. Phạm Tuấn Anh. So World Trade Center Museum New City, we do not only as the venue management, we also the trade promotion agency. So with the trade promotion agency, inside we also have the WTC Academy. So as you have also listened from the partner from Singapore, that upskill and reskill is very necessary. So from next year, we also collaborate with different partners worldwide in order to support deeply in every sectors, in order to identify the needs of them, in order to support those companies for reskill and upskill for the labor. That of course we understood that labor intensive nowadays is a critical problem, and especially in Brazil during the COVID, we faced that issue dramatically. And now it's about the time BKMX ITC would like to invest more effort in order to know more about the insights of every single sectors. And from you here, right here, we would like to call for collaboration. That if you need any support, please feel free to tell us. So we will sit down and listen more from you, and then we will figure out the programs specifically. So that is the perspective we would like to implement in the group of you. Thank you.
So last question for the last gentleman and the remaining question. Let's use that for networking. I'm Hai, coming from Bosch factory in Long Time. That's in the automation industry. Let me ask Mr. Tuan. Let's talk about Industry 4.0 that covers a lot of things, including human factors. So after implementing that, we need to conduct assessment or evaluation for E 4.0. Do you apply anything to evaluate the digitalization, automation? Could you please share with us? Yeah, thank you for a very interesting question. In Mr. Totor's presentation from Polytechnic University in Singapore. Currently, we have readiness, a series of indicators to assess the readiness. This is a set of criteria we see from the perspective of process technology and organization to see how that consists of many sub index subset of the index that are developed by the Singaporean agency. Your question, we also stick closely to that set of criteria in order to transform that we need to be able to measure and evaluate. So the transformation not ceased at the technology, but also rely on the process organization, and so the set of indicators based on which we can make assessment for one organization. They have a very specific score system. We are trying to launch that system in coordination with that agency and our 4.0 center. We assist the businesses to conduct assessment based on a series of indicators. Currently, I see that that's more standardized set of criteria, but when we use that set of indicators for big factories, big businesses, we can use all of the indicators. What about for small enterprises? We need to prioritize which one to focus on the floor, on the automation. For example, for the part of the supply chain, we will assess that comprehensively. So that is series, the set of indicators called series. In order to apply that set of indicators, you need to be qualified. You are subject to a proper, thorough training in order to be entitled to applying that indicator set. And as Ling said, that we will create an ecosystem, the lab, and step by step develop the consultants in order to help you out in assessing that using the set of indicators. I believe that you have many more questions, so let's save that for the networking session. So let's conclude our panel discussion. I'd like all the speakers to come forward so that we have a group photo together with all the panelists here. We still have the follow-up session. Wait for us for a while, please. Now I'd like to formally introduce the two important representatives for this MOU signing ceremony between Charin Electric and World Trade Center, New City of Bình Dương. Mr. Dong Wook Kang, Director of Charin Electric from Busan, Korea, and Ms. Huỳnh Đinh Thái Linh, the CEO of the World Trade Center, New City of Bình Dương, to come forward on stage. Thank you, Mr. Dong Wook Kang, Director of Charin Electric, and Huỳnh Đinh Thái Linh for this great partnership.